Hi there. Mondion Astral Oracles. Top of the morning to you. I am joining you with a cup of coffee, which I sometimes do, and it's partially because it's comforting to me. And if you ever watched a morning television show, it works as a prop. But this day it is also because I am going to channel the spirit of coffee, continuing this project of working with some of the plant spirits. And of course, I think it'll be interesting to work with this spirit, and it will be coffee in particular. Caffeine is, of course, absolutely by far the most popular drug globally. It's like right now, I assume that a good deal more than half the world's population is probably hopped up in caffeine in some way. And of course, it comes in many variations in coffee and tea. Of course, I think it's in betel too. It's in mate. It's in cola and guarana perhaps too. All these different kinds of nuts. It is a drug that occurs in a lot of plants naturally. And at the same time, coffee is probably its most popular reiteration. And being here in what they are trying to brand as cold Hawaii, because there's a lot of windsurfing here. But unlike the real Hawaii, you definitely can't grow coffee here. Yet people drink a lot of coffee. I think the Scandinavian countries or the Nordic countries are the countries in the world who consume the most coffee. In Finland have the world record. And if you've ever been to Finland, it kind of matches up, right? Because it's partially it's what you need to get you get some pep through those dark winters, and partially it goes well with that sort of stern and very self composed outlook and mode of conduct, which is probably very indicative of both Finnish culture and Northern cultures in particular, right? Like people who are kind of rigid and closed off. And it's of course interesting that this brew, which comes from the East African highlands and then made its way through Yemen and the Arab world through uh, Turkey or the Ottoman Empire, and then through Austria and Venice and these places where they began to add milk and onto the rest of the world, right? But that became a brew that was somehow acceptable to consume even in circles that a place such as this is famous for, which are kind of very dour Lutheran Christians who definitely don't believe in playing cards or dancing or drinking or anything that might get you into to trouble on the other side, right? So, but coffee somehow that's all right, which is interesting. And the reason I also want to do this, apart from it being a fun and pleasurable experience, is also that I've just been guided to. I've been drinking a lot of coffee lately, and it's actually because I've been kind of stressed out and anxious about my overall situation. And the logic of this is kind of like pouring gasoline on yourself because your house is on fire, right? Like it's not a good idea to drink coffee if you're hopped up already and nervous. And at the same time, it is a warm, comforting ritual to be able to return to. But I am feeling guided to drink a lot less of it. So I'm looking forward to checking in with this experience and with this entity, this spirit, and seeing what it has to tell us. And so I hope you will enjoy, and thank you for being here and liking, sharing, and stuffing all that good stuff. So much love to you guys. And you can of course get yourself a cup of coffee while I connect. Yes, you may sense that the vibration I am communicating to this body is an almost galloping motion. It is something that strives to move forward into the world, and this indeed is very indicative of my vibration, and therefore I am happy to join you this day, coming to you from what you may consider or perceive, explain as the 11th dimension, and into this time space, joining you through the facility of this magic berry and its magic kernel that, roasted and fried, contains and releases wonderful aromas and certain magic vibrations and incentives to get going and get things done, to realize those ideas, to come up with them and put them into action. See, this has been a way that I assist humanity in what you are doing. And so, if you were to consider my energy in a gender perspective, you could consider it a very male energy. That is essentially, I strive towards activity, I strive towards precision, I strive towards sequence and delineation. And so you may also find, as this individual has found, that there are certain modes of expression or certain ways of thinking about the world, certain ways of speaking about the world that come into being with my influence on humanity. That is, the cafe, notice the word, indeed became a gathering hall for this prosaic type of discussion of reality, this turning over the minute elements of physical reality. This is my gift to you. It is a type of attention and engagement in life. That is also why you have discovered that in the proper doses, I actually have a very healthy influence on your system. I keep it slightly jolted, I keep it slightly happy, I keep it engaged and jovial, gregarious and forthcoming, and all these things are helpful and good for you usually. But of course, it is true. I observe this, that, well, some people, this individual was also putting forward this perspective. Some people, they may abuse this vibration, such as he feels he has. And this means that, well, I shut you off too much from the world. You become too anxious, too frenetic. You begin to rotate around your own axis on the spot. And so, if you rotate too rapidly around yourself, instead of what we believe might be called a centrifugal force, you get a centripetal force. That is a motion that turns inward rather than outward. You get something that becomes almost self destructive in the way that this acceleration, this excitement becomes too much to handle. You become overworked and you may even become a little overbearing. That is, you may be too hard on yourself, possibly too hard on others, possibly becoming too critical, and possibly beginning to lose the sense of configuration and connection with the ground, becoming contracted in your muscular structures, becoming tense in your outlook and your vibration. These are aspects that you may look into. But see, there is a certain balancing act taking place in the way you usually interact with my special energy, my influence, the concoction which I offer. And that is that you both roasted, that is, there is a slowness to the preparation of my being. I need to be fermented and expressed in these aromas and nuances that take time to develop and that need added heat and the element of fire to be developed. But I also need to be aired out and dried out. I have already sprouted from the soil, and in these thin airs, I have managed to obtain more etheric energy. You may notice that the highlands of your world has a certain affinity for growing these plants who hold high levels of stimulation or molecules that affect your or and other animal nervous systems with the influence of stimulation. Tea and coca come to mind as other such powerful substances that also have this, say, airy, high wound vibration to counteract the thin airs in which we grow, and often also the soils that we require to sustain ourselves. They can be difficult to find the deep nourishment within. And this you may also sense is reflected in the stimulant influence, the influence that I lend to you. It is that you may sense that it becomes harder to find the connection, and yet you prepare me with water, with heat, and with that heat, with that love, there comes a grounding, there comes a slowing down a pace in the ritual that counteracts the acceleration in the influence of the molecule. These are ways you can think about it. These are ways that you can move into my energy. But are you considering me an everyday beverage? Are you considering me a consumer product that you can ingest in certain ways and that you can use to navigate your identity, taking your coffee in specific ways from specific places? Or are you considering me a sacred brew that holds a certain vibration, a vibration that you can access in your everyday life and that brings a sacred ritualistic pace to your life, that stimulates you in a certain way, that brings you into a rhythm and a flow with the conduct and the carrying forward of your ideas, of your work and of your manifestation, and with the interaction and the free flow of energies with other people. See, the secret to why you humans, who are very social beings, enjoy drugs as social lubricants, whatever drug that may be in a specific cultural context. But the reason is that you tune into the same frequency. There is, from all the different spaces and all the different experiences that you all adjoin the communal space, there is a shared coming into a vibration, whether you are drinking tea or having cake, sharing a special meal, sharing a cup of coffee, smoking a joint or relishing a cigar together, having a glass of wine, or whatever is your preference. Even if you come together with people and enjoy cacao or kava kava, if you come together and enjoy sharing a video game, this is essentially you attuning to a specific vibration together. And this feeling, it is the feeling of loneliness being transgressed. Know that this is something I offer. I offer the social code. I offer you to enjoy a wonderful, talkative gathering. I offer a refined loquaciousness and expressiveness in words that is helpful to human beings in the frenetic communicative pace that you so often exist in. And I also offer comfort, I offer joy, I offer sensory pleasure, I offer heat and warmth, I offer a certain je ne sais quoi, that is, there is an effervescence in my being, there is a place where you meet something that lies beyond describable experience and yet fills you with a silent, happy joy that transcends the limitations of individual life, bringing you in to a connection and experience of and with felt reality that is connecting to life itself. Therefore, relish the next cup of coffee. Enjoy that you are having this moment and enjoy that we get to share it, because every time you do, I gratefully accept your energy and offer mine in return in this communion of sweet aromas and active stratagems brought forward into the world of manifestation. My love and my gratitude for this exchange too. I send you, dear human beings, may you find joy in the small pleasures of your day, this day, and all days. That was a very fun experiment I felt. And and if you ever tried to quit drinking coffee, I actually did this right before I started channeling, and it did kind of shift my vibration into a place where I felt like it got higher, and I all of a sudden connected to these spaces. And then of course, it is very much a social drug, so it partially it's very enjoyable, but it's also something that you constantly get offered all the time. So it's hard not having a relationship to coffee for me at least. But if you are kind of trying to shift something, and I feel like they also offer that you can get sort of to shut off, like this image they had of being the spiral that kind of turned in on itself by drinking too much coffee. It can be very helpful to consider taking a break and moving into a lot of these softer, more yin-like energies. So those were some perspectives, and I hope you enjoyed this coffee session, and much love to you out there, guys.